Hey, what's up? My name is John, and this is my review of the new 4K UHD release from Vinegar Syndrome of The Boogeyman. In this review, I'm going to talk about certain things that happen. I don't want to ruin any aspects of the story or what happens for people who like to go into a movie cold. But if that doesn't bug you and you're not concerned about that kind of thing, cool, let's hang out and talk about The Boogeyman.
Good, steady lad.
Let's start by getting something big out of the way. Is this movie derivative of a couple of major 70s horror films that we all know pretty well or have seen at the very least referenced that are pretty big and obvious? The answer right out of the gate is yes. I'm gonna say right up front, I think I like The Boogeyman better than I like the Amityville Horror. There's a few reasons for that. One is that it's part of the expectations game. When I saw the Amityville Horror, I saw it for the first time when Vinegar Syndrome recently did the 4K. I hadn't seen it. I had seen, again because of them, I had seen the 4 movies in the Cursed collection. They were all about cursed objects. I saw the one about the lamp, the mirror, the clock, and the big dollhouse. Those were kind of fun for what they were. I think that the Amityville Horror would be a little bit grander maybe than it was. I think I was thinking of it as like up there with The Shining or The Omen or something like that. But really the thing that made the movie connect with me less than this one is that in the Amityville Horror, it's just people who want to own a house.
Not at this price.
You want to get a house as cheap as you can, and it's a great looking old house. Then all this crazy stuff starts happening to them, but it's not because of who they are, it's because of where they are. And there's sort of funhouse randomness to the things that happen. There's a lot of really cool sequences that are super memorable, like Rod Steiger shows up and the house is like immediately rejecting him and the window shuts and the room fills with flies and it all comes on very quickly. You know, there's all this random stuff that happens. The toilet fills up with black goo. It's almost just like the horror version of like The Money Pit or something like that, where it's just these unlucky saps who, I mean, maybe they should have known better not to buy a murder house, but I don't know. I just feel bad for them. Whereas in The Boogeyman, some Amityville shenanigans definitely go down, but one happen about a half an hour into the film where we've already spent time setting up this Halloween style opening that involves characters that we're then following probably 20 years later, probably a similar gap that there is in Halloween from when the first killing happens to Halloween night. And so we're following these characters who are traumatized from this event that happened in their childhood that they have seriously repressed, to the point where the brother hasn't spoken a word in 20 years since the incident happens. And since the sister is very easily triggered by visual cues, there's a scene when a big knife is carving a chicken on a table. The music comes in a way that the main character, Lacey, is clearly trying to keep her cool at the dinner table while sort of floating off into this other world.
The language. You don't believe the language.
Which is also sparked by a letter that they get from their estranged mother who is dying and wants to reach out one more time. So this trauma gets awakened in her at that point. So at this point is when we shift into this Amity mode. Lacey's husband, Jake, wants to take her to her childhood home where this incident happened, thinking that if she sees where she lived, and just sees it as a nice normal house now that's no longer a murder house, it'll somehow help her be fine. I don't think this is a great idea. I don't think this is a smart thing to do. It doesn't feel controlled enough. He just wants her to snap out of it because she's clearly going back to a place of darkness in her past.
Oh, sure.
So they get to this house. The house happens to be for sale, so they have a really easy in. Lacey goes off on her own, and she goes into the bedroom where the murder happened. And she sees a mirror on the wall. It was the same mirror that's been in the house. It was never changed. And in what is a David Lynch style level of horror, and what I think is the scariest image in the entire film, is Lacey looks in this mirror and sees, only in the mirror, lying on the bed and slowly getting up and walking towards her, the man who was murdered. And he still is with a stocking on his head, looking absolutely terrifying. So she makes the right call, screams, and destroys this mirror in a stranger's house. This is where the most questionable decision in the entire film is made. Instead of throwing this mirror away, he's like, we are absolutely bringing this mirror home. And pretty sure everybody watching this release, probably then, definitely now, is just gonna go, what? I guess he's just flailing in trying to find a method to help her through this trauma, but he picks dead wrong. Even if nothing else happened, he's still wrong for bringing this mirror home, because she doesn't want the mirror. She just saw something horrible in the mirror.
Why don't you just throw this stuff away?
So he's totally wrong. He comes back and does something even more wild. I don't even know how the hell he did it. He puts the mirror back together. It's in like a million pieces, and he puts it back together, and he puts it on the wall, and it looks crazy. You have this cursed object that has an evil inside it that is going to propel the rest of the story. So the horror is already happening with or without this mirror. This mirror just takes it into a crazy and enjoyable direction. But you could imagine that not happening and the movie taking a left instead of a right and getting a different, very satisfying horror film. One thing too that I like about the Boogeyman is there's really not a whole hell of a lot of jump scares. I can only think of one off the top of my head where, it was just a joke in the movie when a kid jumps out from behind a shower curtain. Boogeyman! Most of the scares in the movie are much more psychological than jumpy. In this, there's also a lot of scenes where people, when they're around this mirror, particularly shards of this mirror, that kind of travel around, get stuck to people's shoes, or just fall out of this mirror because it's crazy that it's even staying together at all on the wall. People lose control. A lot of the killings in this movie are done by people who lose all self-control. And that's pretty scary. To me, it's not as scary as the image of this guy with the stocking over his head. Nothing in the movie tops that. Even like in the most special effects, sparkly, glowy, exciting finale, the horror towards the end is just more fun than outright scary. I love this movie. It's a movie I want to watch again. Like I said, I think I do like it more than Amityville Horror. I don't think I like it more than Halloween, but the look and the sound and what plays out is just a lot of fun. It's a lean, mean 82-minute movie. For me personally, I could see rewatching it more than any of those other big horror movies. A big reason for that is I really enjoy the lead actress, Suzanna Love. I think she looks great. She sounds great. I think she's a great actress for this type of horror. I think she's at her best here. I've seen her in a few other Vinegar Syndrome releases. This I have to rewatch. Olivia, I haven't seen in a long time. So I'm excited to rewatch that now, knowing that I had more recently seen the Devonsville Terror, which goes right along with its pal, the Boogeyman. Devonsville Terror I didn't enjoy as much as the Boogeyman.
Why didn't you tell anyone?
In fact, I'm gonna go to say I enjoyed it, but not even close to as much as I enjoyed this. Suzanna Love is a big part of that.
I should have taken you more serious.
I was disappointed when I looked up that she was only in, I think she has like 11 credits on IMDb, and I'm pretty sure that most of them are just with her husband, Ulli Lommel. She's in a lot of his movies. I'm hoping that there was one or two in that list that looked like prime for Vinegar Syndrome to put out.
Come on.
And I know they've already done 3, so you never know. Not sure how the deals go there, or if they've got access to more, or an interest in more, or if this is tapped out. But I say go for more. Although I did see Boogeyman 2 on IMDb does currently hold a 2.1 star rating.
What dirty feet you have.
The number on an IMDb review ultimately counts for very little, but the 2.1 is rather low. I think Vinegar Syndrome probably puts out more 3s and 4s.
Not the way it was 20 years ago.
I think the Boogeyman's in like the 4 point something realm. I'm throwing my vote out there. Please, we want more Suzanna Love. I want more Suzanna Love.
You gotta be patient. Just keep your eye on the line. And if you feel something, hold on tight.
Also starring in the film for a hot second is John Carradine.
Him? Who?
It's nice to see him. He doesn't do a ton in this movie. It seems like he was brought in to add some gravitas to the production.
Not for him to kill. That was his decision.
You know, the way that you have a Max von Sydow in The Exorcist or a Rod Steiger in the Amityville Horror. They got elder statesman John Carradine, who does most of his scenes in one room. I wouldn't be surprised if he was on the set for a day.
You're always talking about that night. You want to tell me more about it, Lacey?
Don't get me wrong, it's not bad. He doesn't take anything away from this movie, and it's not weird to see him, but he's fine. If you do like John Carradine and you're just going through the Vinegar Syndrome catalog, I would recommend watching The Bees. He's got a much bigger part in that, and he has a lot more fun, and even just gets to do some kind of cute stuff in there. That one's a more enjoyable role for him in something else that they have released. As far as this release itself, as a physical release, you know, I've already gushed over how cool I think this artwork by Haunt Love is. I think this is just an absolutely killer slipcover. It's better in person. I love this image on the front. I love the color scheme. It's totally amazing. I've obviously opened it since because I watched it, and I did reverse the artwork because I just want to get the most art that I can out of every release. And I do really dig this that they picked. Seen an original poster that has just her at the window, and then I really like this one with all the shards on it. Because obviously once you've seen the movie or listened to this spoilery review, you'll know how important these shards are. Yeah, and as far as the presentation of the movie, it looks great. The colors look insane. I think that they're doing the best work in the business as far as I'm concerned. Towards the end of the movie, in the crazy laser light show finale that they have, there's like scenes that are lit all red or all green, and those colors are popping. And in scenes where there are a few major different colors going on, where like the background will be yellow and the foreground has a lot of blue in it, there is a really nice looking contrast there. I am excited. Wow, there's a 39-minute interview with Suzanna Love, which I am excited to check out.
Then we go fishing, all right?
And some cool commentaries on here as well. Thank you for checking out this review. I'm gonna leave some links in the description box below for a fan trailer that I chopped up for The Devonsville Terror, which is another Ulli Lommel film starring Suzanna Love.
I can't get away from it.
And I'll also have a link down in that box for my Halfway to Black Friday unboxing sale if you're interested in seeing what else I got. I would love to hear what you thought of The Boogeyman. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I do. I think it looks great. It's a whole hell of a lot of fun, and would love to hear your opinion about it. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe to the channel. I am planning on doing a lot more reviews like this one, and thanks again for watching. See you next time.